Our globalist today is one of the main architects of Korea's green growth policies, a policy that gives both developed and developing countries the confidence to say economic growth is possible through environmental friendly, sustainable methods. Now, Mr. Kim Sang-hyup has taken on leadership of the Global Green Growth Institute, or GGGI, an intergovernmental international organization based in Korea that he helped create. As Director General of GGGI, Kim joins us today to share his ambitious plans for the Global Green Growth Institution and how the world will weather the current challenges in the fight against climate change. Welcome to the Globalists.
Well, thank you, Professor Song. It's really wonderful to be here with you, especially the Globalist talk show. I love it.
Thank you. Congratulations. I love that you've now headed GGGI. But for our viewers who were not familiar with GGGI, tell us about this institution that you've started leading.
Okay, before talking about what GGGI is about, it would be better for us to talk about what is really green growth about. And green growth, simply put, is go green and you can get a new sustainable economic growth. It is a kind of new economic development paradigm that is not damaging our planet. Last year, the world has invested about $2 trillion on clean energy itself. So we believe green and gold can together, and by doing this, we can decrease greenhouse gas emission and reduce pollution, and we can more effectively take advantage of the natural resources, and we can develop new technologies and jobs.
It goes against what we previously thought.
Yeah, that used to be our conventional wisdom, but so climate change has become so dominant, and then it is going to be much bigger. And if we don't behave, it will get worse. So we must do something. So that's why the world is investing that a lot of money. But it is only at the beginning of the new chapter. Having said that, it's the time to talk about GGGI.
So GGGI's role in all of this?
GGGI is, simply put, one of the fastest growing international organization, and that shows the power of coalition and partnership of like-minded countries. Well, green growth cannot be achieved by a single country alone. It requires a global cooperation. So the idea of having a Global Green Growth Institute is we want to expand our collaboration to scale up a green growth economy. And Korea led the establishment of the GGGI. It was
13 years ago?
It was established in 2012. It was formally announced at the Rio Plus Summit in Brazil. At the time, 16 or 17 countries were founding member countries of GGGI. But now we have 49 member countries. And there are many countries are waiting to be our member countries. And then now we have more than 40 offices around the world. And then we are working with more than 700 really professional people. And we have been conducting several hundred green projects. And we have facilitated more than $10 billion for green and climate change.
Is GGGI the only international organization wholly dedicated to green growth?
Yes. I think you heard about the UNFCCC. That was launched in 1992, but it is basically about climate negotiation and setting key policies to cope with climate challenges. But GGGI is about climate solution. How can we make really sustainable development by helping with each other. So that's a big difference. So UN set a big framework, and we set our specific strategy, and we work with member countries and partner countries. We are embedded in the governments of partner countries, which means we make close cooperation in the field.
Just to give us an idea, specific idea of what it is that GGGI does, can you give us some examples of when you talk about on the ground? Are we talking about actually building something on the ground?
Yeah, we do a lot of things. We do policy advice, and we also run together several projects that are aligned with the spirit and direction of the GGGI. And we also help those countries and those projects to raise finance to implement those things. So we are quite multidimensional in that regard.
You advise countries so that they can do a lot of policies in an environmental friendly way, to give them the know-how.
Yeah, not just environmentally friendly way, but also economically a meaningful way. That's the spirit of green and grows.
Together,
Right,
yes.
right.
Yeah, that's a great concept. So how does it feel? I mean, you were there when it was born,
Okay.
and now you're its head. How does that make you feel?
Frankly, very proud of the progress of the GGGI, and I'm proud of the people and the partnering countries. Not many people believe that GGGI can do this much.
Really?
As a middle power, Korea tried to initiate with this international organization, possibly for the first time throughout Korean history. You know, Korea used to be a kind of recipient of
follower,
foreign
recipient. Yes,
aid,
true.
but it has transformed itself to a country which is contributing, donating to international community. But having said that, not many people thought Korea as a middle power country to lead this kind of new international organization. But Korea did it. That's why I'm so proud. But there are a long way to go. The real thing I really like to achieve during my time is to make GGGI is really indispensable asset of international community, especially in this time of trouble. So GGGI is going to be very innovative and result-oriented, and with the sense of impactful delivery maker.
I hope you're successful, but tell us about some specific areas that you're thinking of focusing on.
Well, I'm going to focus three big things. One is about the so-called Article 6 of Paris Agreement that was finally concluded during the Baku summit last year, in Azerbaijan. So Article 6 about how to encourage international cooperation on carbon credit trading. So as it is completed, we launched a carbon transaction facility that is to facilitate the carbon trading capability. That's one of the things I like to focus. And we are also organizing carbon fund with that. That is to provide means of transactions.
To allow those transactions to happen in various
and readiness
countries.
and implementation are the core parts of our new carbon initiative. And happily, Norway, Sweden, New Zealand, many countries are contributing really meaningful resources and commitment to our initiative. As of now, $150 million.
Wow.
Right. Another thing I like to focus is AI.
AI?
Yeah.
Well, you don't immediately think of AI when you think about green growth.
Well, AI is really closely linked to the climate and energy issues. I was invited to attend the AI Global Summit. Key topic of that summit was sustainable AI.
Okay.
Why sustainability is the core of the summit? AI would demand much, much more energy. Then how can you afford the energy in a sustainable way? So we need to have a really good sustainable energy mix to support unprecedented big energy demand. That is one issue. And that's GGGI joined the coalition for sustainable AI. And it is a kind of challenging side of AI. Another side is kind of opportunity side. AI is providing us a very innovative solution. So GGGI is now developing AI-backed MRB system. MRB means measurable, reportable, and verifiable system that is critical to enhance carbon credit related activities. So AI is closely linked to carbon transaction facility, which I mentioned earlier. Using AI and IoT and blockchain, a lot of innovative technology, we can ensure many climate reducing activities and projects in a much more reliable and speedy way. So that would be our second initiative. Third is about hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen. Hydrogen is becoming a new area. Also natural gas, which many countries are using a lot. In the end, there will be a time for post-oil. So they are investing amazingly, heavily to build the future for their own survival and prosperity. And GGI can provide a kind of platform to scale up.
Those are very forward-looking, futuristic
Yes.
policies. So we have Article 6 with the carbon trading, we have
AI,
AI, and then we have
new
hydrogen,
energy.
new energy sources. Lot to do.
Lot to do.
The Honorable Donald John Trump.
From this moment on, America's decline is over. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. We're going to save over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty.
You took charge at a very challenging time. We've seen how the second Trump administration has already pulled out of the Paris Agreement. And, a lot of people are talking about pushback on carbon reduction. How do you see yourself and the GGI's role in this environment?
It is true that Trump 2.0 administration is cutting off foreign aid budget, including climate-related one. And as you said, he decided to withdraw the Paris Agreement again. And it is...
This is the second time, right?
This is the second time. We are also having very tough time in geopolitical matters. The wars, Ukraine war, and several things, which are inviting more money to the defense area. So I cannot deny the fact there is a challenge regarding especially money. Money is now being shrinked in almost all areas. in the international field. But think about this. If you deny climate change, does that mean it will disappear? It lingers with us. If we don't behave and if we don't act properly, it is going to get worse. And it will be, in the end, a matter of our existence. It is coming and it will be bigger. So we cannot go away with this big problem.
So it is time for organizations like the GGGI to step up.
Yeah, we need to step up. There are many international organizations, and not just governmental levels, but also state level, subnational levels. There are many cases who are stepping up.
How? What can they actually do?
Yeah, well, this is not just about environmental protection. The green growth is about new economic growth. Great amount of investment is still happening. For example, among the $2 trillion investment made last year, almost half of the investment was by China. China is the biggest emitter of greenhouse gas. This is becoming second biggest economic powerhouse. And China is investing on that very heavily. Why? Because it is about new economic growth, electric vehicle, battery, and solar power. Now China is leading those three things. They call it Big Green Three. It is showing the big evidence that cannot be denied. It can contribute to your wealth and to your new development, to your new initiative. If we work together, if we make a bigger coalition, which GGGI is trying to achieve, we can change the world and we can have better life.
In the midst of this, I mean, of course, GGIs, we're thinking, play a central role, but what about countries like Korea? I mean, you talked about cooperation between Korea and Japan, but what are the roles of countries like Korea in this global environment?
Korea has developed very rapidly, and Korea is very exceptional country, aid recipient country to aid donor or contributing country. Korea might be the only single case after the World War II, and Korea is indebted to global community by serving global interest more actively. I truly believe that will be good for the Korean interest in the long run. Korea must take on that kind of a new corresponding role in the world, promoting free trade, international cooperation, serving global interest.
Because Korea is almost the prime example that green growth works.
Yes.
Right?
Green growth is not about ideology. It is about kind of future strategies and coalition. So GGI is really open to any country who shares that kind of like-minded attitude. And that's why now Korea is working closely with many countries around the world. Brazil, India, you name it.
This year is also the 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement.
Yes, it is.
10 years.
10 years.
So what do you have in mind? GGI special plans?
Yeah, we have. Well, I remember that day, when the world has agreed on Paris Agreement. I was actually in Paris.
You were.
And I am so proud of our chairman, Ban Ki-moon. He was the head of the UN at the time. And France, as a host country of that global climate summit, is planning a lot of things to do. And French embassy is going to work with the GGGI to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Paris Agreement. GGGI is ready to do a lot of things in celebration of 10th anniversary.
Yeah. I think this year the celebration will take on even more significance, especially because of where it needs to go.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about you. I tease you about your hair. Sorry, but you embody green growth. I mean, from, what you wear to how you talk. You sort of have it in your heart and your passion. But that was not always the case. I mean, you're not an ecologist. You were a journalist. How did you become this proponent for green growth?
I was a professor. I was a business planner. I was a media person. I was a public officer. But when it comes to green growth, my major was international relations, especially focusing on the international political economy. When I faced the issue of climate change with sincerity, I really thought it is going to be a really big problem. And if you look at the other side, it is inevitable for us to cope with the new challenges. It will be another great opportunities for Korea to step up. That's how I designed the concept of green growth with my colleagues. So that's the beginning of the story. But once you are into that field, you can never be able to get out of it. But it is going on.
Yeah.
It's a kind of really ongoing concern. So you talk about my green stuff here. This is a kind of promise or kind of pledge or commitment to myself. I will do it persistently, no matter what happens. Yeah, that's kind of self-promise.
I guess that when you look at from a global perspective, you get a better idea of what the real critical issues are.
Yes, I think
and
so.
that's
yeah.
where you saw. Well, I also heard when you got the job, when you started your job at GGGI, former Secretary General Pan and many of your other mentors congratulated you, and everyone was really happy
Yeah.
that you took on this role.
Yes, recently we had a kind of official inauguration luncheon event, and not to mention our chairman Ban Ki-moon, Foreign Minister Jo Tae-il delivered a really meaningful, touching congrats speech in front of us in person, and even acting president Choi Sang-mo and the governor of Bank of Korea Lee Chang-yeol really congratulated us. I take those congratulations as you need to work hard.
A lot of responsibility, yes?
Yeah, right.
So when you look at in some of a mid to long-term future of GGGI, I know we've talked a lot about what you intend to do. 5 years down the line, what do you see as GGGI's presence in the global community?
Yeah, well, in my mind, I have some numbers, but I don't like to talk about it today. But as I said, I want to make with my people, with the world, I want to make GGGI a really indispensable, reliable asset of international community, especially in this difficult time. Yeah.
On that note, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and wish you much success. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Thank you for having me again. Let's be true globalists together.
I wish that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for me. I'll be back next week with another globalist who's putting Korea on the map. Sun Ji out.